Well, good Wednesday evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Scotty Powell here for the Carolinas Weather Group. We've got a new name, some new members on our panel as well, but we're still all about the same business as we've been doing, talking about the weather in North and South Carolina as well as Virginia. Today's episode, it is June the 11th. We're starting a couple minutes late due to some technical difficulties, but hopefully we'll get those all out of the way. This evening we're supposed to have meteorologist Chris Justus on from WYFF Channel 4 out of Greenville, South Carolina. We're having some technical issues with him, so hopefully we'll be able to get him onto the show here in just a little bit. So I'm Scotty Powell. I work at Burke Weather. We also cover Caldwell, McDowell, and Catawba County. And speaking of Catawba County, I'm going to switch it over to Joey, who is the chief meteorologist over at Catawba County.
Like Scotty said in his introduction, I'm Joey from Catawba County Weather. I do see Daniel's hopefully coming back with us here now. But anyway, talking about this weather for the week, man, we just haven't had a lot going on. Nothing compared to Burke Weather. I think we had the old famous Catawba County Weather Shield up the last few days. So in lieu of saving time, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of skip past me, and we'll let Daniel again. We'll let Austin kind of talk about what he saw down his way in the last couple of days, and then Austin, you can toss it back to Scotty, who had all the action last night. He could tell us about some of the issues and things that went on last night in Burke County. Austin, what are you seeing your way?
All right, today it got up pretty warm today. It was a high of 92 at 1:30. We had a nice thunderstorm roll in about 2:15 this afternoon. A little bit of pea-sized hail and gusty winds. A lot of lightning. Not too much rain with it, though. I guess our garden's not liking that right now. But I'm going to be in Bladen County for the next 2 months, so I'll be reporting weather out of here. And with that, I'll kick it back to Joey.
Oh, well, you kicked it back to me, but we'll kick it straight on over to Scotty and let him talk about the rocking and rolling time that they had last night in Burke County. Seemed like they got a good piece of action.
Yeah, speaking of getting kicked, I feel like we've all been kicked here in the county. We've had 2 rounds of severe weather within the past 24 hours. Last night we watched a line of severe thunderstorms move up from the upstate of South Carolina into the Polk and Rutherford County area, Henderson County, and that made inward roads to McDowell and Burke County. Last night we did, I don't know if you've been able to watch the local Charlotte media stations or if you followed along at Burke or Catawba Weather, but we've had a microburst that happened in the county, and it produced a lot of damage, the most damage that I've seen in our area in quite some time outside of the tornado event of a couple of years ago. But about 10:32 last night, a microburst happened over downtown Morganton, and when I say downtown Morganton, I mean right in the center city part of our city. Numerous trees down. I couldn't even guess how many trees were down. Upwards of 200 to 300 trees down in the area. Several trees have fallen onto homes. A couple of people were actually trapped in their homes during this storm. They had to get rescued out of their homes. A lot of damage, and the damage path just wasn't restricted just to downtown Morganton. Started at the Burke McDowell line and lasted all the way up into Caldwell County, up into the Gamewell area, and then into Lenoir, as we heard some more structural damage up in the city of Lenoir. So a major event happening last night. Like I said, a lot of trees down. The city of Morganton was without power. Power was restored between 3:30 to 5:30 this morning, just depending on where you lived at in the city. All the emergency personnel was on call last night. I actually lost power at my home. We wasn't here in the Burke Weather office. I actually lost power at my home as Chris and Joey and Daniel were updating the pages. So with no power, I had no internet, so I actually went out into the storm and captured some photos and some video footage of the storm damage that did happen in the county. So if you want to head on over to the Burke Weather Inc. on Facebook, be able to see a lot of those pictures, and depending on our technical difficulties, maybe I can pull some of those pictures up here later on in the show and show you. But a lot of damage suffered last night in the Morganton area. And then we'll kind of fast forward to today, around 3 o'clock today. another severe thunderstorm warning was issued for almost the same areas of the county that got affected last night. Reports on Hayes Mill Road, which is about 6 miles south of Morganton, of a barn being torn apart by the damaging wind. Also got several reports of trees down in the Salem community. Also out of this storm, we actually got some hail reports out of McDowell and Burke County. So last night we didn't really see a lot of hail, but today we actually saw some hail. Actually looking at the radar now, we're kind of in a lull, but as we turn our attention to the southwest of us, we're starting to see more storms develop in the upstate of South Carolina and northwest Georgia. So looks like we might be in for round 3 in the overnight hours here in Burke County and McDowell and Caldwell, and maybe over at the Catawba County. They're Joey's joking around and rightfully so. He had the big shield up against his county. Nothing really developed over there yesterday. So a lot of weather. I think the whole team was running off about 2 to 3 hours of sleep. I know I got into bed about 3:30. Didn't get to sleep till about 4, and then got back up at 6:30. So not a lot of sleep. It's been a restless 24-hour time frame, and it looks like it's going to continue as we see more storms roll into the area.
Scotty, not only did nothing develop in our county, Catawba County was apparently the place where storms went to die. Everything, as soon as it got anywhere near, and in fact today, same way, had a few storms over Lincoln County, Cleveland County. As soon as they moved into Catawba County, that was it. They just died out. So we've had I haven't looked at maybe the Hickory Airport soundings or anything like that, but I guess maybe we had a strong cap over our area today. I don't know, but we definitely had the shield up.
It's funny, and I'm not saying this to brag or anything. I just kind of a funny point that I'm wanting to point out is if you read our my update yesterday morning around the 6:45 time frame, we're kind of talking about the weather of yesterday and kind of leading up to what was going to happen. And I put in that post that Morganton had seen that storm shield, and that storm shield would probably be broken down sooner rather than later. And needless to say, 16 hours later, a mortal heck broke loose in the county, and it literally looked like a bomb exploded in town. I mean, if you could just see some of the images that I saw last night. Like I said, if we can't get Chris Justus on tonight due to technical issues, I'll try to get some pictures to show you guys. But just unbelievable damage from trees falling down in the Burke County area last night. Like I said, it's something that I hadn't seen in a long time in our area.
Looks like we got Daniel back, so if you want to bring Daniel in real quick and let him talk about McDowell County, since they actually at least saw a little bit of weather, unlike my area.
Yeah, Daniel did, and Daniel was the guest rounder-upper tonight, trying to get Chris Justus, and I know Daniel's been offline trying to get Chris's technical issues fixed. So, Daniel, I'll toss it to you. We're kind of just going over what's happened in the past 24 hours weather-wise.
Well, it's been pretty active here in western part of North Carolina, and just a lot of stuff going on. We had that line of thunderstorms that come through the mountains and in the foothills last night, and unfortunately for you folks in Morganton, you Scotty, it was some nasty stuff that come through about 10:30, and that's kind of been the theme. We're in a real juicy pattern right now, kind of a early summer feel to everything, and it looks like it's going to continue for the next several days.
Catawba County is obviously not in that juicy pattern. we have been completely denied.
Yeah, and Daniel, what about today's events in the county? What did you? I seen a hail report out of the Dyersville area, I believe.
Yeah, we had some storms that formed quickly after lunch, and they started moving north-northeast, and that one cell over far southeast McDowell County really blew up this afternoon, and we did get that report out of Dyersville of some hail close to about 1 inch in diameter, and eventually rolled into Burke County also. Then we had another shower kind of hit the western part of the county here in the last hour and a half. Here at my house, it dumped about 1,500 of an inch of rain. So still active right now, looking at the radar, as you people may have on here. Looks like we got some activity over upstate South Carolina we're going to be looking at, see if it makes a run at us tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of try to screenshot this. you guys know how my luck is with technology, but I kind of just show you what we saw last night in the county. You guys let me know if you see this, our pictures.
Yep, pictures are up.
All right, good deal. So this is just outside of town. This was on Anderson Street. This was actually taken just a little bit ago before I came here at the office. That's a tree on a house there. This is actually on Highway 70 coming towards the community of Drexel. This was a tree that was snapped off halfway up the tree, landing on the house, and this was another little tree right here that had fallen. Just another picture of that. I'm going to skip these because these are radar shots. Let's see. This was last night. This tree right here was one of the, if you watched the news shows this morning, this tree was over 100 years old and had fallen on a house across the road. That house, people had to get rescued out of it, 2 people out of that house. So this was off of Woodlawn Drive, just outside of downtown Morganton. Another picture of that. This was in downtown Morganton. This is one of the trees that had fallen down, blocking half of the road. Another tree top that was ripped out of the tree. This was just outside the First United Methodist Church area. Again, another tree ripped off midway through. This kind of reminded me of driving through the redwood forest right here. This is all leaf litter, tree branches, trees, main big trees itself. A lot of tree branches just littering the roadways. No power in the area that was going through. Again, I think this picture tells the story right here. I mean, just widespread tree damage all throughout the Riverside Drive, Woodlawn Drive, Sanford Drive, Anderson Street, College Street, King Street, Meteorologist Drive, I think is the other name to it, Montrose Drive. So a lot of tree and leaf damage and limb damage. So those are all the pictures I've got. But just I hadn't seen something like this for a while in our area. So outside of the tornado that happened a couple of years ago. So just a major storm that came through the area last night.
Yeah, and like I said, all of that activity stayed to my west. We got to see a little bit of lightning. We got a pretty good show from that. That was about it. Speaking of lightning, let's mention that while we got a second. I saw a few reports of heat lightning last night come through on my page, and that was not heat lightning because there's no such thing as heat lightning. So anybody who's listening doesn't know that already. There's no such thing as heat lightning. That lightning is was just lightning from those distant thunderstorms. But anyway, Scotty, I guess that pretty much kind of covered all of what you have there. What do you see for severe weather over the next couple of days? I think tomorrow is going to be another active day.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see a couple of more active days. Actually, just got a comment or question. Well, comment, not a question. It says Google Plus will not load going back to YouTube, and hope I can get it. That's from Sharon Ingram. So evidently we're having some kind of issues with server issues. So if you're watching this, great. If not, this is the June 11th episode of the Carolina's weather discussion by the Carolina Weather Group. So hopefully you're able to watch, and if not, you'll be able to see the replay of this. So kind of get that out of the way. And as of Joey was talking about, looks like we're going to have another stormy period this evening, especially in the western part of the state. Right now, let's see if we can get back to a screenshot now that I figured out how to do it. And I think we got Chris on, so we'll kind of wrap this up right here. But we're watching this development back over the Franklin area, back into Spencer, South Carolina, over into Anderson, and then that's going to move up into Greenville and Spartanburg. So we're going to be watching this development in the upstate of South Carolina as it moves through the upstate and then into western North Carolina. It looks like we might be in for another period of severe, or not severe weather, but at least another period of thunderstorms in the air. So with that, I think we have the issues fixed, and we've got Chris on with us. So Daniel, I'm going to let you take it away, buddy.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Glad we got it worked out. I think it might have been a Wi-Fi issue here. Who knows? But thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on, Chris. We've been following your post here in Western North Carolina, so
Awesome.
we're very excited to have you on. And we know you're a North Carolina boy, so I'm gonna kind of let Daniel go through the interview and let him start from there, and then we'll kind of talk about the severe weather we've had, and then what we see coming up.
Sounds good.
Good. Hey, Chris, appreciate you coming on. Sorry for the technology issues, man.
No problem.
Hey, for all our viewers tonight, this is Chris Justus. He's the weekend meteorologist at WYFF TV in Greenville, South Carolina. He covers the upstate and Western North Carolina television market. And Chris, I'm going to let you have the floor right now. Tell us about yourself, where you went to school, and how great it is to be back here in the Western Carolinas.
Oh, it's priceless. I mean, it's one of those opportunities here where they don't come around too often. There's never openings in this market, it really seems, because everybody likes it here so much. But I grew up in Hendersonville, just south of Asheville, I'm sure you guys know. Went to school at UNC Charlotte, got my bachelor's degree there, and wish I could have stayed in Charlotte. I worked at Channel 9 WSOC for a long time, about 4 years, and Steve Udelson in there, we're real good friends with him. There's never been an opening there when my contract has been up, so it's been one of those things. I would have liked to go to Charlotte, but right out of school I started in Savannah, Georgia, so I got some coastal experience there, and then moved back to Charlotte to work at Fox Charlotte, WCCB, worked there for a few years, and then moved to Nashville, worked in severe weather city, it seemed like. Got my experience there. That was a blast. I loved it. My wife not so much. And then got the opportunity to come back here, which is priceless. The mountains and the upstate. This is home for me.
Well, it's great for you to be here in West North Carolina. I know me being in the television market, technically in McDowell County with you guys.
Yeah.
I love watching you on the weekends. I think you do a great job. Personally, I think you do, and I think everybody there at Channel 4 does a great job. You got a great chief meteorologist, John Stetsrich. You need to get him on here one night, by the way.
Yeah, he'd love it.
He probably would. Hey, tell us a little bit about what's going on in the upstate this afternoon, this evening.
Yeah, we got some pretty good storms. I got to ask you guys, being up in the mountains, we try now to cover, now that I've been here more so, to cover the mountains just as much as we would the upstate. Maybe not quite as much, but more than we used to. Do you guys feel like you get enough from us where you don't have to watch News 13 all the time, or is it kind of, would you like to see more?
Well, technically, and I know you guys kind of share a little bit with Burke County. Now, Joey's in Hickory. He's a little too far east.
Yeah. I can't see you from way out here.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think for Western North Carolina viewers, you guys, it's competition, and I don't want to mention anything about the people in Asheville. They do a good job too.
Oh, Jason Boyer's a great guy, yeah.
He is, but you and John, and John's always been pretty good about Western North Carolina, especially during significant events.
Yeah.
Severe weather, snowstorms, flash flooding. The more we can get, the more I appreciate it personally.
Awesome.
And I'd say a lot of the viewers, people who are watching here tonight, if we got some from Western North Carolina, they would probably feel the same way.
Well, good. Yeah, we're trying to get in that mindset is that we're not just Greenville's weather station. I can remember back growing up watching John, the blizzard of '93. That was one of his first years here. He nailed it. I mean, he was on par with that. And I think that's the case. He's good with big storms. And News 13 has always been good too. Go back to Gary Stevenson. I don't know if you guys remember him. And then now Jason Boyer. He's a good guy. He knows his stuff. So we do have some good competition up that way. But as far as what's going on, let me see if I can flip this camera around without screwing anything up. Let's see here. All right. So here's the system. We show, I guess, the 15-minute edge you probably used to see on the commercials there. But here's the old trusty live Doppler. Actually, let me probably show it over here. There's the empty studio, by the way. Nobody's here. I got it to myself today. Okay, focus in here. There we go. All right, try not to make you guys dizzy. All right, so basically, let me make this bigger. This literally is our radar here off of I-85 near Anderson. So it really doesn't have too much range issues going up over the mountains. Granted, sometimes I'll notice the yellows turn a little bit more green when I know that they're probably still holding together. But other than that, I mean, I'm going up here to Burke County, and even Catawba County. Look at that. I mean, it's got you guys on par. And I even think, I don't know if we pay for all the street level stuff out toward Burke County, but certainly for Asheville on over toward McDowell. So you guys have it as well. So it works out. Yeah, we got street level here, so I can probably go down to your street over there.
Yeah, you're right there on 70 West. If you can find West Poplar, you'll be right in my neighborhood.
Oh, we're gonna zoom into your house here. It seems like.
Yeah, just to the west of Marion, about 3 miles.
Oh man, all right.
If you look closely, it's a camper.
It's a camper. Okay.
No, that's Tom Johnson. He's got those $1 billion campers out there.
Oh man.
Hey Chris, you talking about the TV market?
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, this is such a complex TV market. You got the cover. You go all the way from northeast Georgia and like Abbeville County, South Carolina, and you're technically all the way up to, I believe, Avery County, North Carolina. Explain how complex it really is to cover such a large area, multiple states.
It's very complicated. I mean, it's one of those things where it's fun. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Actually, like you were saying, I mean, we have got a wide array, all the way down to Abbeville, like you said, all the way almost up to Boone. So I mean, we've got a lot of folks to cover and a lot of people to make happy. We've learned that the Asheville area tends to watch News 13, but if we can slowly win viewers over one by one, showing the mountains like we do, giving the warnings just like we would if it was Greenville, that's kind of our plan of action. But everybody watches us in Greenville. Channel 7 has Spartanburg locked down pretty good, but a lot of folks in Spartanburg love us too. So it's hard in the wintertime especially because it can be 60 degrees with downslope winds in Greenville. But in Jackson County up toward the ski slopes, it can be snowing. So, I mean, it's one of those crazy deals where we'll be talking about snow and everybody else is going, what are you talking about? You're crazy.
Oh, no.
It makes it fun, though.
Oh, it definitely is. Scotty, Joey, y'all got any questions for Chris?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I was in Greenville just a couple of weeks ago at the Greenville Drive Stadium. I just want to compliment you on a beautiful city that you guys have down here. I mean, I know it's not as big as Charlotte, but the downtown area is beautiful. I mean, it is one of my favorite places to visit. So I'm sure that you probably feel the same way about downtown Greenville and just the surroundings.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Hendersonville, Greenville or Asheville is where you had to go to watch a movie. And coming down here, there was a lot more to do. There was a lot to do back then, but now it's just so clean. It's just it's a neat city to come and visit. All kinds of restaurants. It's a very foodie town. But the markets, like Greenville, I think we're market 35, 36, 37, something like that. Charlotte's 25, I believe, or 23. And Charlotte has the big center city, and then they go up toward the mountains. Greenville has a wide array, like we were talking about, from Abbeville all the way up to Boone. So we have more geography. That makes us a higher market than you would think. But it's all a bunch of cities. We got Spartanburg, we got Greenville, we've got Anderson, we've got Asheville. So it's all those big cities that kind of make it up. Whereas you got big cities like Charlotte, or you got big cities like Miami and Atlanta that just stand alone on their own city, and that makes them almost an easier market. I like forecasting in Charlotte a lot better because you have one city to worry about, and then you kind of figure out the rest there. Same thing with Nashville. It was one city, and then everybody else kind of adjusts their temperature. Okay, I'm just north of Nashville. Subtract 2 degrees, and I'm good to go.
I was going to say, I mean, you've covered Nashville, Charlotte, and Greenville, three of my favorite places to visit. I mean, all three beautiful cities. So
yeah,
that's awesome. I do have a question for you, and this is something that we've discussed on here before. It seems like the Greenville, South Carolina, or the GSP office, National Weather Service GSP office, it seems to be one of the top-ranked offices according to severe weather year in and year out. And I know with what you're talking about with the mountains and the Piedmont and all that, kind of talk about what your thinking is about that. Why do you think that happens and stuff like that? We've had our own discussion, even a show topic about it before, but just kind of get your thoughts on that problem or issue or suggestion. You know, what's your thoughts on that?
So you're saying they're more accurate, or they're
it's one of the most active active areas in the whole country.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is I don't think we get as much severe weather, but maybe they trigger the warning sometimes. I think a lot of it may come down to difficulty. I mean, there might be a storm over the far fringes of their viewing area, and they're going off of their radar, and it may look severe, but it may not be as severe. And I'd be interested to see kind of the false warning data that they have. I think Storm Prediction Center stores that kind of stuff. But I think the guys here are good. They do a good job. Sometimes I think that they get excited about some storms down to the south that may not be as severe, but there are times where it's definitely warranted. But this is one of those jobs where those guys need to know their stuff, because this is a coveted place people want to be. People want to live in Greenville. The guys working here are guys that have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10, 20 years of experience. So they definitely know their stuff over there.
Right. Yeah, Joey, you have any questions or?
Yeah, I was going to follow up real quick on kind of what Scotty was talking about. One of our theories for that area, and I'm not trying to toot our own horn here, we have these personalized or localized weather pages where we cover Catawba County weather, Scotty, Burke County, we have McDowell County, and we really make it a point to educate the public. We hold spotter classes, and one of the theories are the fact that maybe we have so many more trained eyes and spotters here to report damage. Is that maybe what's helping bump up some of those numbers in this area?
I think so. That'd be a very good point, and that's a trend that's kind of started in the past 2-3 years, I guess. Is weather fanatics like yourselves that know your stuff and can give a valid report back to the National Weather Service. We can look at these things all day long, but what you guys can tell us what's going on in Catawba County or Burke County or anywhere else is what's going to help us actually know what's going on, because our radar only tells us so much.
Yeah, we always say we like the radar, but the best radar is the eyes out in the field telling us what's actually happening.
Yeah, that's true. The eye one.
And Chris, you also spoke about growing up here in North Carolina. As for me, what got me really interested in weather, what really set the fire off in me was Hurricane Hugo. I remember being in that, being the house shaking. It was one of the wind, the sound, I could hear it like it was yesterday, and that was what turned me on to weather. That's what got me involved. Is there a moment that really that sparked your interest in weather?
I mean, I kind of knew from a very early age. My dad's a farmer, and I know how weather can affect a farmer. I mean, one hailstorm or one freeze can wipe out a whole crop. So that really got me interested in weather from a very young age, because I saw how devastated he would be if his whole crop was lost, and I kind of wanted to help him out. I wanted to figure that out. So I think from second, third grade on, I really started getting into that, and really became a fan. I guess the blizzard of '93 probably was my big deal. I remember being in school and having to burn a project I had from school, and it was an airplane we made in construction or something like that, and I had to burn it for firewood. So that kind of sticks with your mind a lot.
Yeah.
But it's funny you mentioned hurricanes, because I'd like to hear you guys' thought about what y'all think about hurricane season, but I was kind of doing some digging. I'm a big climatology guy. Not to say that it's always accurate, but Charleston's history. I mean, looking back at them, they're vulnerable August 31st through September 6th. They're hit every 11 years or so, and the last direct hit was 2004. So they're doing okay. But you go to Myrtle Beach, last direct hit. Average direct hits every 7.8 years. Last hit was 2004, which means they're kind of past due a little bit. Not to say that they're going to definitely be hit this year, but you go back and look at history. The longest that they've gone without one is just a few years more than this. So I mean, it could happen. Then you look at Savannah, Georgia, who is past due by like 30 years. They haven't been hit for a very long time, and that would be devastating if Savannah got hit.
Yeah, I tell all the time that I'm a history guy and I'm a weather guy, and I like to put them together. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that. If you didn't mention, I was gonna mention you worked in Savannah. How's that drought of tropical weather going? That's go ahead.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where everybody talks about the Sea Island hurricane of whatever it was, 1880, 1893. Everybody's like, is it going to happen this year? I mean, if Savannah got hit by a hurricane direct like that, I think it would be as bad, if not worse, than Katrina. I mean, that whole city is below sea level, and they're not ready for it. They're just they haven't been hit in hundreds of years that they're like, okay, we're protected because we have that inlet there because it kind of curves in.
Right.
That's something that's kind of fun to watch.
Well, and they also go back to say, well, we ain't been hitting so long, it ain't going to happen. Someday it's going to happen, and it ain't going to be good. You know, going to what you're talking about South Carolina coast, and you talk about Hugo affecting Charleston's 25th anniversary. There are some people in Charleston that remember that. If you think about Myrtle Beach, and if they had a major hurricane hit, they really haven't had anything, a direct hit, probably since Hazel. I mean,
I'd say so.
That's a long time ago, and
that's a whole different coastline now.
Yeah, as much as Myrtle Beach has grown and is commercialized in the last 20, 30 years, God bless them if it happened, because that would be some problems.
Yeah, I can speak to that. I lived in Myrtle Beach for 2 years, and just to see the traffic from May to September, you know, if you was to get a tropical system in there in August when the season starts to intensify a little bit, it would be disastrous because there's only a couple of ways out of there until you get inland.
Traffic.
I mean, it would not be good at all if that was to happen.
Well, yeah, especially some didn't have a lot of warning, you know, and they had to evacuate within like a 24-hour period or something to that effect. That would be that'd be a serious issue in that area.
You know, I remember with Hugo seeing the old pictures of Sam's Corner down there at Garden City on the south end of the Strand, and the landfall from Hugo compared to the south end of the Grand Strand was 60 or 70 miles maybe. Just think if you have a major that actually comes ashore in Horry County. It's hard to imagine. It would really be bad. And, you know, and we have some viewers in South Carolina. We focus on North Carolina, but, you know, we want to get the word out to people in South Carolina. Be ready, because you never know. This could be the year. It could not be the year, but you got to be ready.
Got to be ready. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to talk the boss into is maybe sending me to Hilton Head one day, and then drive up to Charleston the next day, and then drive up to Myrtle Beach the next day, and kind of talk about each city's history and talk to the locals and see what they think. I think that would be interesting for even folks back up here because, you know, you kind of wonder how complacent they are.
Yeah, well, most people in our area, your area too, I'm sure, you know, that's their vacation spot. So I don't think there's a problem with. I mean, I would think that would be something very interesting, and that would be a horrible assignment to have to do. By the way,
it would, wouldn't it?
Hilton Head and Charleston, yeah, that's whoa. But
just get you some golf in if you can play, Chris.
There you go. I can try. I can swing.
Speaking of this hurricane season, Chris, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, what do you think? Active, inactive? I mean, I'm a person that hates long range forecasts. Yeah. I think they're not much more than a guess. But what do you think about the season?
I think it's a guess too. I mean, I enjoy winter weather forecasting, seasonal, a little more than hurricanes. But you know, all it takes is one. I mean, it can be the most slow year ever, but all it takes is one, i.e., Hurricane Andrew. But I think something is going to happen this year. I think it's got, just climatologically speaking, something is going to threaten us. Something is going to happen on the Carolina coast, whether it's the Outer Banks or Carolina. It's just history is bound to repeat itself, and if history tells us anything, something's going to happen, whether it's a tropical storm or a near miss, or we get grazed by a monster. I feel like they're going to be sending me to the coast sometime, and I'm going to be blown around next to the pond fronds or whatever.
Hey, just some advice: make sure goggles. You don't want that sand in your eyes, man.
Yeah, I've learned that one.
Here's some advice: take one of us fat guys to anchor you down. I'll gladly volunteer.
I'll talk to the boss.
Hey, Joey, I was going to tell him you and I have been known to chase a couple of storms, so we'd be more than happy to go.
There you go.
My bucket list of weather events, the F5 tornado hasn't happened, obviously, and my other one is to actually ride out a hurricane on the coast. I've done a tropical storm. I've never done an actual I want to be in the eye of the hurricane, within range of the beach. Obviously, I'm not dumb, and there's water rise, and I'm not taking my chances on water. But you know what I'm saying?
Parking garage.
Right, something to that effect. And I'm not dumb enough to sit through a Cat 3, 4, or 5 either now. But But yeah, I want to do the hurricane on the beach. I haven't done it yet, so tell your boss I'll gladly go anchor. I could probably anchor the truck, to be honest with you. So
That's funny. That's funny. Let's do it. Come follow us. You're welcome to. I'll tell you, in Nashville, I first got there. I was there in 2011, 2012. When I guess it set a record right 2 weeks before I left to come here. 30 tornadoes in one night. Granted, they were EF0, EF1, and there was 2 EF2s. But can you imagine something like that around here? People would flip out. I mean, people just do not take severe weather the way they should here. I guess it's where you live and stuff. But that was an unbelievable night. Obviously, there at work all night. But we were living in downtown at the time, and my wife and I just gotten married. And I went into work. You walk outside, it feels like it was 3 in the afternoon, but it was 1:30 in the morning. It was ridiculously hot and humid. I knew something was up. But EF2 touched down, went for a while, then lifted up, went right over downtown Nashville, and she said she felt the whole place shaking. It blew out a bunch of the high-rise windows, then touched down and killed 2 people, one county over. So it was a scary situation, to say the least.
yeah, I have some friends that live in Nashville, and I usually help them whenever there's events like that. I definitely remember that was a very active period there. Those couple of years that you were there. It was a very active period. Well, you speak of that one. Of all of your experiences, would that be the most? I don't know. Would that be your top event? Would that be it, or is there anything else that ranks up there with that?
There were a couple of tornado events. There was one where Nashville was under the high risk by the SPC, which doesn't happen often, as you guys know. That was in April of 2011, whenever the big outbreak toward the south happened. I hope I get my dates right here, but that was very memorable.
April 25th to the 27th was that total outbreak.
There you go. There you go. That was it. And there was another one in March that happened. There was another one where they had us under a moderate risk. It was the NFC playoffs on Fox. I was at the Fox station. I was like, oh, come on. Because, football fans, if you interrupt their programming, they're going to come to the station with a knife and try to find you. They were not too happy, but I did a little cut-in during halftime, so nobody got mad. But probably those, and then being here for the big deep freeze this past winter, that was pretty ridiculous. -2 all the way down here, and what did you guys get to?
I think we was at -5. Scott even actually remember that a little better than I do on the temperature.
We got to -7 here in Morganton.
Yeah, I think we saw a -5 here. I think that was the official at the airport.
Wow.
All I know is my well was froze for 3 days. So.
No good at all.
Definitely not. So all right. You speak of those events. By the way, that major outbreak I got to enjoy from the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Well, so I was totally out of the loop for that. I got to totally miss that event. I had another question there and I kind of lost it.
Why do you think of it, Joey? Chris was talking about cutting in on the NFL playoffs. What is WYFF's policy with tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings and stuff like that?
We go on. We have a very supportive management staff here that no matter what, if it's a tornado, we're on till it's off the ground or the threat's gone. They even give us, they leave it up to us if it's a severe thunderstorm warning. That's kind of questionable. If it's going through downtown Greenville at a festival or downtown Nashville at one of the big festivals up there, we're going to cut in. But you don't want to cry wolf. You don't want to go on every time it's just thunderstorming or people start taking you for granted and they won't take you seriously.
Right.
We're on wall to wall, and the cool thing about my job is I kind of get to float. I get to be on the mornings with our Dale, our weather guy there, and then the Chief John. So it's kind of I get to float. I get to go on location when something happens, and kind of whatever the weather demand is, we go for it.
What do you like better, studio or being out in the elements?
That was my next question.
That's a good question. I guess right now I like being out in the elements. Once I start having kids, I'm going to probably want to be a more set schedule, less deadly threats, and I'm sure my wife would appreciate that. But yeah, I like being out in the elements. I like being at least able to go. I didn't so much like being stuck out at -2 out in the cold, but I threw the water up in the air and it froze and all kind of cool stuff like that. But it was able to, hopefully, if I encouraged one person not to go outside and save their life, then maybe I did my job for the day.
I'm firmly in the out in the element side. I'm way over there. I ever since I started the whole Catawba County weather thing, I've almost regretted it, because every time there's any kind of severe weather, I'm kind of glued to the computer and glued to doing updates and things like that, and it really drives me nuts, because you can ask my wife, she'll tell you whenever no matter what kind of storm, if it's happening, I've got to be outside. And Scotty, we've done a number of phone interviews with the radio station during severe weather events where am I? You can hear the wind blowing in the phone because I'm outside. I can't be inside for. That's just who I am.
That's it. Yeah, Joey's good at that. I'm kind of like, I like to do the internet stuff and the radio stuff, and then also be out in elements. So last night when my power went out during the major microburst in Morganton, I actually got to go out in the elements.
Sweet.
Yeah, he went out in the elements, and I just kept topping away.
Yeah. That's the advantages of your power going out, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I noticed tonight watching your broadcast, kind of teasing at some hot weather next week. What are you looking at that for the Southeast? Because I noticed it on the computer models a little bit, too.
Yeah, I mean, all the flows start turning southwest, and the Gulf's just going to open up and send us a lot of humid air. Not only that, but it's kind of a last look at it. It was kind of a south, more of a westerly fetch to it. So it may be dry. The drier we are, we're going to get up there. I went 86 for Asheville, and I went 91 for Monday down here in Greenville. So it's going to be hot regardless.
I noticed looking at some other people on social media, especially eastern part of the Carolinas, maybe some mid-90s for the first time for some areas. And
Charlotte could easily be 96, 97, I'd say.
Yeah, and as much as I like hot weather and thunderstorms, I can do without the high heat.
I'm with you there. You can always put more layers on, but you can only go down so far.
Yeah, tell me about it. You should see the court cost on that. Anyway, well, Scotty, we're getting about 10 or 12 minutes towards the end of the show.
I got one more question there. I'm going to try to open up a can here. Let's see if Chris will get us.
Uh-oh.
We've had Brad Panovich and Tim Buckley and Grant Gilbert on talking about this subject, and we hope that you'll answer honestly, because kind of what we do is internet based. But what's your thoughts on some of these very what's the word entertaining weather predictions? Some of these Facebook sites and websites. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, the weather prediction guy out in California, he's certifiably crazy sometimes. I mean, it's one of those things where you're putting people's lives in danger, and he'll issue his own watches that contradict the National Weather Service, and you can only do so much. I mean, there's some times where I may disagree with the National Weather Service, but I keep my mouth shut because, people aren't going to take you seriously. If you start doubting the National Weather Service, they're going to as well. And for him to do that, he got shut down several times. NOAA actually sent out a newsletter about him. For you to get the national attention of NOAA to put out a news release about yourself, you're probably doing something wrong.
And he probably sued them for that, I believe. I
think he did actually, and he's in a battle right now with Gannett, I believe. So I don't know. I think he has the right mentality. I think he has the right passion, but I think he just needs to kind of channel it, kind of like we do. We have our pages. We post responsibly. You guys do as well. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I have received my cease and desist letter from him that I'm not supposed to mention his name. But yeah.
Now, what did Brad and Tim say? Were they along the same lines?
Yes, they were. In fact, I'm sure it does for you too as well, Chris, but it kind of makes our jobs a headache because we have to answer for his, excuse me when I say this, his dumb comments. I mean, it makes our jobs a lot more worse because you have all these people saying, well, that's not what I heard, or they start sharing this bogus post, and then they start to believe the bogus post, and they don't actually believe the reliable information.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it makes our job so much harder because I would even have people post that picture of some of his watches on my page and then say, "What do you think about this?" And it gets to the point where and he has 60,000 followers at one point, I believe. I mean, it got pretty crazy. I wish him the best. I hope he can figure out a niche that he likes. But last time I checked, I believe the site was down. I don't know.
Yeah. They were all of his sites were removed from Facebook. He even tried to come back with a new one, and it was removed also.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, and I think he put out some sort of post about how he decided that Facebook is not the best way to get out information, of course. So, but anyway, again, I'm not allowed to mention the guy's name, so I won't. But
there you go.
But yeah, I like Scotty said, we try to be as accurate and as reliable. And our posts, we try to, we make sure we don't overhype events, and that's the thing that he does. He likes to, and he's not the only one. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
They'll scream these big headlines, and we try not to do that. We try to say keep everything as calm as can be. And so when we say there's going to be an event, usually it's a pretty good chance of one. And we're lucky that all of us, Brad Panovich kind of said, "Hey, I love what you guys are doing, and I'm here to help anything you need." And that's coming, really handy. Anything that any questions that we've had, things like that,
Yeah.
And of course we try to return that favor. And same goes for you. I mean, I know some of us aren't really in your market, but if you ever need anything from us, we're always available. You can always come find us. Like Scotty was actually on WCNC this morning after the event in Burke County. So like I said, we try to do that. We try to be real. We try not to. We're not just out there trying to get likes. Luckily for us, with our combined pages, Scotty, you probably know this number better than I do, but we're over 40,000 total with all of them, right?
Yeah, we're approaching 45,000 right now with all 4 counties. So
that's awesome.
And we're getting ready to add 3 more. So
there you go.
We've kind of added already. We just need more help to get them covered.
But
yeah, I mean, thank you. And our goal with it is not to like take over a market. It was just to be that person that could be local. When Brad mentions something about Charlotte or even the surrounding area, he has a lot of area to cover. Same with you, especially you, geography-wise, you have a lot of area to cover.
Yeah.
And our goal was to be able to take that information, not just his information, but it's our own information, but basically take weather forecast and localize it to just one particular small region. I grew up here in Catawba County. Whenever it rains, I know what streets are going to flood. I know who's going to be in trouble. I know that, and that's something that any other meteorologist over a major market is not going to. I mean, they can't know. I mean, it's just too much information to know, and so that's kind of our goal. And hopefully we're doing it right, and we're doing a good job at that. And like I said, I mean, any information. I mean, Daniel, he's sort of in your market. I'm sure he's definitely available. Anything you need from those guys in that area, we're always here.
Yeah,
awesome.
I get
Good
you
to
on
know.
too, so you're in Burke County as well. So
well, that's right. Yeah, you do make it to Burke County. But yeah, that's kind of our thing. I wish I could see more of you from up here.
We do stream online, so you can watch online.
I do follow along on on Facebook posts and things of that nature. I do that for a lot. I don't even watch TV really.
Well, I love Lake Norman, and I spent a lot of time up there in college and when I worked at Fox Charlotte. So you guys get some humdingers there off the lake, I can tell you that.
Here in Catawba County, you always get the guy who says, "Oh, that storm will follow the lake. It always follows the lake." I'm like, I've never seen a storm. I've never seen a storm go due east and then turn due south on the lake. Okay, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I've got a tease here to shoot at 9 o'clock for the 11 o'clock news tonight. I'd like to join you guys sometime soon.
Yeah, can you tell us, our followers and our viewers, how they can follow you, Chris, before you have to jump off real quick?
Yeah. I'm on Twitter, Chris Justus. That's JUSTUS WX. That's my Twitter handle, and Facebook, same thing, Chris Justus WX.
And we can find you on WYFF on the weekends mostly, but throughout the week as well.
Wednesday through Sundays. I'm on. My only days off are Monday, Tuesday. I'm on the rest of the week, 5, 5:30, 6, and sometimes 11. So you can find me then.
Good deal. Well, thank you for coming on, Chris, and hopefully you'll want to come back on sometime.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Anytime, guys.
Awesome.
I appreciate it very much. Sorry about
Yeah, thanks,
Get you
Daniel. I
on
appreciate
your
the
way.
invite. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll see you guys soon, and keep me posted on my page. The stuff's going on up your way too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Have a
And-
good night.
Hey, you better hurry. I see there's a big storm getting ready to hit Pickens.
Oh, I'm in trouble then. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy.
All
We
right.
appreciate it.
Later, guys.
That's Chris Justus from WYFF in Greenville, South Carolina. Very nice guy, don't you guys think?
Yes, that was a great interview. Very talkative, lots of information.
Kind of, our as you can tell, we're very laid back. Or some people are not so laid back. We're kind of laid back and just kind of let the interview take place itself. We're supposed to talk about hurricanes, so I know we're coming up on 9 o'clock. Briefly, what do you guys think for the hurricane season?
Well, I said it before. I'll say it again. I hate long-range forecasting. I'll never tell you there's going to be X amount of storms coming for the next year because like I said, I think it's nothing more than a guess. The only thing I say is I look at factors. You can look at things like El Nino causes less hurricanes. You look at factors that tend to trend toward things, and factors show that we are trending toward a slower season. But again, like Chris was saying, climatology says that we're also due one. If you remember, like he mentioned, 92. We had very few storms, but we had Hurricane Andrew, and it only took the one. So again, I think it's going to be a year where we might not have that many named storms, but we're due to have a good one. So
Yeah, and Chris made a great point when he said it only takes one.
right, exactly, it does.
Daniel?
Well, I tell you, I'm looking at what's going on right now, especially the jet stream that usually tends to lift at this time of year. It's just not lifting, and usually early in the year you look at the Northwest Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico region for any kind of tropical development, or maybe off the southeast coast, and even if something did develop right now, the upper winds are so hostile that it would get sheared like a sheep in an instant. It wouldn't make it. We had the invest that was in the Bay of Campeche last week, and that storm never had a chance to develop into anything. Even the computer models at one time were kind of teasing at the idea it might try to develop, never could because the upper winds are just so hostile right now. I mean, that's kind of common for June, but it just seems like right now it's really bad, and we're going to have to see what happens over the next month or two. I got to believe that's going to start lifting. That's going to start allowing more activity to happen in the climate-favored areas. And then when we get into August, we'll see what's happening out in the Atlantic. Last year we had such an issue with the Saharan air layer, where we had the dust that was coming off the Saharan desert. It was coming all the way across the Atlantic. And honestly, I believe that had a great impact on the season last year because the sea surface temperatures were plenty warm, but you didn't have enough moisture in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere to where you can form storms like you do with tropical systems. You got to have all that moisture, and you had that dust from the Sahara that come down last year, and I think it really affected things. But like Joey said, the signs are there toward a slower season, but as we have said tonight, it only takes one in the right spot, and it's all a moot point after that.
Austin?
Given the weak El Nino we have in place and the stronger shear over the tropical Atlantic, we should have a decrease in tropical activity, but as forecasters last year were predicting a really active season, we didn't really get that active. So that shows how accurate long-range forecasts are. So we really do have to watch it, even though they say we're going to have a below-active season.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I don't really have anything to add. I do have, Daniel, you might want to stick around on the show. About 10 minutes, you're going to have a thunderstorm pop up right over your head.
Sweet.
It's really gaining strength as it comes into McDowell County. So.
What about Catawba County? Oh, yeah, nothing.
Let's see, anything over here?
No.
Burt County? Got a couple of storm reports. Well, let's kind of wrap it up. Joey, I'm sure you have a rant tonight, correct?
I always come up with something, don't I?
All right, good deal. So we'll start east. Austin, kind of wrap up the show. what's your thoughts on the weather coming up for the next few days and how
Yep.
we can follow your information and stuff like that?
Alright, since I'm here in Bladen, I'll just tell you what I'm expecting around this area. A lot warmer, up into the 90s the next few days. Thunderstorms in the afternoon like we've been seeing. You can follow me at Facebook at North Carolina Weather and Data Center. We do not have a Twitter because I do not know how to use it, so bear with me there.
Well, we'll get you working on Twitter a little bit later.
That's right. Joey?
We kind of talked about it earlier. Tomorrow looks to be pretty active. Then things kind of slow down a little bit. Typical afternoon thunderstorms, though, through most of the weekend, through most of Father's Day. I will say this before I go to my rant here in a little bit. I don't want to put this on my rant part. That'd be wrong of me. But tomorrow morning and Friday, because they have two different award ceremonies, Catawba County Weather will be handing out its first ever Weather Kid of the Year award to a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade student who showed a high interest in weather and all things science related. So pretty excited about doing that tomorrow. Better named a sponsor there, J. Brown Real Estate out of the Hickory area, who is actually paying. He's footing the bill for all of that. We didn't even put a dime in. We just put a name on it, and that's kind of the way I like to do things. And so anybody else that wants to sponsor and send us money, we'll gladly take it. But yeah, we're going to do that tomorrow, so pretty excited about that. And then on Friday we do the 7th and 8th grade at Newton Carter Middle School. Hopefully next year we can expand that to everywhere in our county. That's the goal. So whoever's next on the list here, whenever what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess Daniel.
Go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. It's fine. Like I said, more thunderstorms. I'm actually looking at the radar over my computer, and I see a storm popping up in the Granite Falls area. We have a storm coming into McDowell County, so looks like it's going to be another stormy evening and overnight hours for us here in the county, and hopefully we can share some of that with Joey because I know he's missing out on it.
I am, and tonight I have to be up early in the morning, so I've got to get into bed. So I'm sure it'll probably happen after I decide to fall asleep.
It probably will. And like Daniel shed new light, I didn't know we were supposed to get so hot next week. I've been so wrapped up in what's been going on the past couple of days that I didn't know that we're going to see some, looks like maybe mid-90s next week.
Yeah, I just kind of started noticing it today. The upper low that's to our west over the Midwest, and it's lifted north, and we're going to kind of stay in a little bit of a weakness through the weekend. But next week, looks like we may have a little bit of an upper level high pattern set to our south, and what that'll do is what's been a south and southwest wind the last couple of days may turn due west, may dry us out, and may warm us up a little bit. And I'd say in the foothills of North Carolina, off the mountains, you're probably going to be in the 90s at some point early next week. As we head east towards Charlotte, if we head all the way down to where Austin lives, maybe some mid-90s next week. So, is this our first really good heat wave of the late spring, early summer? It could be. I'll be curious to see if the models continue this trend over the next couple of days. But here for McDowell County and for the West North Carolina mountains, same thing we've been going through here the last couple of nights. We're going to have some thunderstorms the next few days. High should be in the 80s, probably in the upper 70s in the mountains, and just same old. Looks like we're kind of in a wet pattern right now, but honestly, as dry as March and April was, we'll take it.
Yeah, and shout out to Joey, to Daniel. He called this last week. He said that the southeast flow return would start to kick up this week, and he nailed it right on the head. So, a couple things before we get to Joey's rant.
Can I do one more thing, Scotty?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Hey, I want to give a shout out to the kids at McDowell High School, the class 2014. Today was the last day of school in McDowell County, and graduation is Friday night for the 2014 class. It's outside at the stadium at the high school, so we got our fingers crossed, hoping that weather will cooperate. But as much as I do for the local newspaper and I work with the school system, I just wanted to take some time to give a shout out to the kids. They've worked hard, and congratulations to each and every one of them.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this because Chris just told me he's going to be up there doing the weather for the graduation ceremony. So you guys may want to hook up and tag team it. So I'm going to be at the Outer Banks this weekend, so I won't be in service at all. So you'll have to depend on Joey and Daniel and Chris for the weekend updates. A couple of things. I don't know if you've noticed this. We have a brand new Facebook page. This the Carolina Weather Group. Uh, we're working on changing everything over to that name. We had some changes in the infrastructure of the old group, and members dissolved, and new members are coming on. So you have us. We're going to be here talking each and every week about upcoming weather events and when severe weather strikes or winter weather or whatever the case may be. We'll do live updates and kind of like how we've been. Ricky's still with us. Matt's still with us. So we still got a good group of guys with us, and excited to start this new venture on this new page. I think our page is already up to 500 or 600 likes in the past 2 days.
It's more than that. It's over 700, I believe.
Awesome. So make sure you continue to like that page. Please comment on it. Let us know what you want us to talk about, some guests you want us to have. Again, thanks Chris Justus for coming on, and make sure you go to his Twitter page. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. At Chris Justus WX. Make sure you give him a follow, and thank him for being on the show tonight, because I know he's busy down there with some thunderstorm DSP market. So with that, Joey, I'm going to hand it off to you, and you can rant away, and you can close us out, buddy.
All right. Well, we're kind of over time, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I know we got some other weather coming into the area, too, that we're going to have to jump out and take care of also. Again, like Daniel said, everybody in our markets that are graduating to the class, good luck. Anybody that's going into the meteorology field, we're glad to have you coming on board. It's a great, crazy weather world, and we all try to be friends. So we'll be glad to bring you to the fold with the rest of us weather geeks. But anyway, on to my rant this week. And I actually had this rant for last week, and I had a funeral to attend, so I wasn't able to be on last week. But the week before that, I have a friend that lives in Iowa. She actually lives near Hamburg, Iowa, the name of the little town. They had some severe weather out there. She actually was under a severe thunderstorm watch. Her husband looked outside, saw a tornado, said it was a white tornado come down to the ground. As soon as it touched the ground, the tornado turned black. Didn't last too long. Went back up, came down, it skipped a couple of times, and moved on. She ended up with some baseball-sized hail, lost a couple of windows, something to that effect. But my thing is, she was under a severe thunderstorm warning during this tornado, and that happens from time to time. But I was watching it for her. I was actually on my way home from New York City last week, and I was watching the radar, trying to keep up, letting her know how things were going. And it was, like I said, it was very, very close to her house. And I noticed that there was a number of spotter icons right in her local area during the event. But don't get me wrong, sometimes those icons aren't exactly correct on your location, and I get that sometimes you're in the middle of things and you have a hard time, doing things other than just getting out of the way of the storm. But that there was never a tornado warning, so I'm under the assumption that none of those spotters ever called the National Weather Service and said there was a tornado. I hate to tell you guys, I know you're out there storm chasing, I know you're out there having, getting your thrills and enjoying the chase. I do the same thing, don't get me wrong. But, our number one priority is we've got to get that call in. If that could have turned into a larger tornado, hit houses, caused deaths, and you could have got the warning out, because there was never a warning issued on that storm at all, whatsoever. So my rant this week is just, the guys that are out there, the guys that are storm spotters, you're certified storm spotter, you're out there, you're doing your thing, you're out there storm chasing, or you're just at home and you're spotting. Your number one duty is to call in. It only takes a second. You should have the phone number to the National Weather Service on your speed dial in your phone. Pick it up, hit the button. It takes literally 15 seconds. If you got time to take pictures, God knows you had time to call the National Weather Service and tell them there was a tornado. That's the goal. It's very important. The spotters are the most important thing the National Weather Service has, and if you don't call those in, you're failing at your job. You truly are failing at your job. And I don't know if you realize it or not, but you are you calling in those reports, it can save a life, or not calling in that report can cost a life. So keep that in mind. Anybody who's a certified storm spotter, if you're out there, you're doing your thing, call in those warnings or call in those reports. When you see those tornadoes, especially when you see those tornadoes, call them in. Let the National Weather Service know. Let them get the warnings out. Let them sound off the sirens. Let people get to shelter, because that instance, people were expecting a severe thunderstorm and they were getting a tornado, and that was not a good situation at all. So that's my rant for the week. Scotty, I don't know, since we're a new group and kind of a new page, I don't know if we've got a new tagline, but whatever it is, wrap us up. Tell them when to tune in next week, and we'll go to the house.
Oh, we can do it. I don't really have a tagline, but thank you for watching the Carolina Weather Group, and we kind of regroup next Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and we look forward to having you then. So for Austin and Daniel and Joey and Matt and Ricky and Chris
Russell.
and Russell, I'm Scotty. Have a great afternoon, evening, and be weather ready tomorrow. Have a good night.